morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Octane's Oracle, where today, once again, I found plenty to talk about. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the latest batch of LEGO Ideas results, 2 weeks now late, I know, and having a couple of interesting thoughts, and then I have some general things I want to talk about with ideas, because I think it's time for a change, along with a lot of people that think the same thing. So let's go through them. There were 57, obviously, and none of them are exciting me again. I mean, I haven't bought an ideas project now since the treehouse. I suppose it depends if you want to count the friend's apartment. I know it's not, it's just an 18 plus set, but at the same time, it sort of feels like an ideas set because it's sort of just like the natural follow up based on how well it sold back in 2019. But no, I haven't bought an ideas set since the treehouse, and I think that's really telling that the projects are definitely widening out now. A lot of them are great. Piano in particular was outstanding. But here again, the ones being accepted just don't particularly scream anything to me. And I think that's mostly because ideas can't pick anymore. And I think they've chosen a good number here. 57's way too many. I'm pleased with what they chose, but what they chose is interesting. Starting with The Office, never watched the show, but I think it's about time. It doesn't seem out of line, particularly to me, so I'm glad that it's finally done off the table. We get the set and we can move on with our lives. I think is my only feeling there. With the Jazz Quartet, nice build, different audience. I think it's cute and different. I'm fine with it. I don't have a problem with any of them. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Congratulations, one of my favourite builders on ideas at the moment. I'm really pleased that it's got the question mark, and also for a more important reason, Disney princess sets using minifigures. As I've said before, the Ice Castle. I really would have bought the Ice Castle for Frozen if it had figures instead of dolls. And it's not because I hate mini dolls, but more because it sets a precedent. The minifigures can just be more detailed. They sit properly. They fit with everything else. And I think it would be really crucial if we can get an ideas set that has a minifigure Snow White and it sells well. So I really hope this one does pass next review season, although the question mark seems to generally mean yes, just more delayed. Princess Bride, yeah, I'm not too surprised that we didn't get that one. The build wasn't particularly outstanding. Tutankhamun, I guess I'm a bit disappointed about that. That was a really cool one. Nice small scale ancient Egypt. We haven't had any Egypt for a while. That's sort of disappointing, but then again, maybe they have their own plan with the helmets line to do a Tutankhamun face mask, and I would tell you I would buy that. No, Before Christmas, bit sad I thought considering they did Home Alone. We might get something for that movie. There's a couple more characters, Oogie Boogie in particular, Christmas Jack would have been lovely. We could have got them here, could have rounded it out, and then it's another license, which a bit like The Office, we could have had our set, we could be done with it, but not in a bad way though, because I actually quite like the movie. But you see my point, we could have just had our one legacy set, and then I could have sat down and be content that it's done, if you know what I mean. Hyrule Castle, those are fans of the channel know that I was never a particular fan of this submission, but although important, I think this is very crucial in realizing that, yeah, we're getting a full line of sets. There was no way Nintendo was going to touch their second biggest in such a small way, and I'm very happy that we're not getting this set, because I think for me it pretty much confirms that they're working on something or they have plans to do something with the license. But we'll get on to how I feel about the Metroid one very differently in a minute. Polar Express, really, that's probably my biggest disappointment this time around. Polar Express would have really loved to have seen Polar Express. I think that's a really nice, good Christmas movie to do. I mean, maybe if Home Alone does well, they'd do their own one. That could be pretty interesting to see. I mean, there's no way to know. We'll find out eventually. Um, Steampunk Airship, yep, didn't really expect that to pass. Baba Yaga didn't stand a chance, I think at least. I don't think it was going to be considered for long. The second Office project, yeah, if they were going to choose one, they would have chosen the guy that submitted it 3 times. I think that was fairly obvious, but you know, it's always nice to have the representation in the review period. 2 in 1, maybe that's finally why they decided to listen. Then the DNA Double Helix, another one that I've actually been planning to do a mock of myself for a long time, but it's slightly disappointing again. I would have liked to have had it. You think it would be an easy win again. So many of these easy wins, but because they don't have specific product teams, they can't just do it, and it's such a shame. X-Files, yeah, that was never going to happen. Now, Metroid's interesting because it's that slightly smaller fan base, and I'm not being critical towards Metroid. It's a lovely game franchise. I just can't get. It doesn't have a bigger fan base as the other two, and although it can get to 10k because the Nintendo community is amazing like that, this would have been the perfect opportunity. I think that If they're going to do Metroid, it's going to be one or two offsets. They're not going to do a full line like with Mario or possibly Zelda. This would just be one set, and this would have been the perfect way to do it. Hold people over with another Nintendo license while you're working on Zelda and Mario, and this would have been it. So actually, yeah, I find this being the second biggest disappointment here is the lack of a Metroid Ideas set. That would have been really really cool, and yeah, that's sort of disappointing. Which gets the feeling to me that Nintendo don't want anything to do with ideas. But no, actually, that's quite sad, especially with Dread. I think that's quite sad actually. But how moving on, House of Chocolate. They don't accept modulars. Why do people keep submitting modulars? They're never going to accept a modular. They've got their own line of modulars. Why would they do yours? Sorry. They're never going to do a modular. People, please stop submitting modulars. Moving on, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It was never going to happen, but we can dream. It would have been fun. Among Us, I don't think they would ever do either. They've stayed away from video games that come and go in popularity, so I'm not surprised at all. Um, Welcome to the Black Paradise. They didn't do Queen. They didn't do any other music sets bar the Fender. So yeah, I don't see it. I don't think it was going to happen. Succulent Garden, another slight disappointment. I mean, with the flower line, maybe they're planning on doing their own, so it's understandable why it didn't get through. But at the same time, would have been nice. But I can understand that one, so I don't think it makes the list of disappointments today. Oh, I didn't mention that, did we? We're doing a list of disappointments. I'm going to rank my top 10 or top 5 disappointments when we get through all of these. But that won't be on there. Another modular. Am I going to repeat myself? Yes, I am. They don't accept modulars, so stop submitting them. Yeah, really our review of ideas sets isn't 57, it's more like 54. Train bookends, kind of cool, would have been nice to see. It's sort of one of those out there ones which I could have seen them doing, sort of reminds me of the pop-up book, that sort of genre. Although people are starting to get a bit fed up with the real life objects, so maybe that's not why they didn't do it. Although it would have been cute, I think that might end up on the disappointment list. Viking Longship, another one. Having done revamps of Pirates and Castle and other licenses now in ideas, I think this would have been another easy win, but maybe they're trying to space them out. Maybe we need to get some space ones first or something. I think there's definitely room for more of these retro ideas to come back on ideas, so I think this one could be submitted again. Animal Crossing, I don't see working particularly well in Lego, and again, third Nintendo project sort of just shows that Nintendo don't want anything to do with ideas and they want to do their own lines. Medieval Marketplace, this is a trend in this review. There's a lot of medieval sets, and that's because the Medieval Blacksmith came out right in the middle of this review season. And of course, when people see an idea set, they go, hey, that got accepted, let's make more. If they got accepted, that lowers your chances. There's no way they're going to do two Medieval Blacksmiths back to back. It really is simple logic. So sort of sort of strange to see this keep happening. But no, that never stood a chance. Bike Streets, I mean, no offense, but what? Just look at it. What? That doesn't make sense as a build. Why are they're not going to wrap up a bike street in a box and sell it? I mean, that's a city set. Why would they do that? I don't know. These things seem obvious to me, but maybe they're not obvious to other people. Working bowling alley, cool feature, but not in a building, so don't care. As lovely as the feature is, it doesn't come in a building. They're not going to sell it, and we know they don't like doing buildings. So that's that. I really don't have anything to say about Astrash and Obelisk. I've never read the graphic novels or anything like that. uh, Lego bookends. If they were going to pick a bookends, it would have been the train ones. There's no way they would just do that. The Shire of Hobbiton, I wouldn't see them doing a Shire because they actually did a Shire set. If anything, again, Lord of the Rings is another one where I feel like they're more likely to do a full line reboot than ideas sets. But then again, this is one of two ideas projects, so maybe it will come back around now that Harry Potter was a success. I personally think that's pretty likely. King's Castle, medieval sets don't work straight after blacksmiths. Some of these just seem so obvious for rejection. I don't understand people. Charlie and Chocolate Factory, unique license, would have been cool. Not sure how likely they are to touch it, but at the same time would have been neat. This old style of house, the Trelly, Truly, I don't know what it is. It looks cool, really neat. Don't see them ever doing it, but nice build. The Greek temple, Greek would have been a nice one to see actually. Not quite a disappointment because I didn't really expect them to, but more historical stuff from ancient world would be nice. As I said with the Egyptian stuff, we've had the Colosseum, where's our pyramids or Tutankhamun bust or a Greek Parthenon and stuff. Karate Kid, I didn't really see it happening to be honest. Winter Village Modular. Winter Village, never gonna happen. Modular, never gonna happen. Smush the two together, never going to happen. You're gonna hear a lot of this. My Lego Toronto bus, this is not the first time this has come up, they just don't seem to want to do it. More space, no thank you, please no more space and ideas. Another modular building, oh it doesn't have Technic pins, that makes it unique, don't care, never gonna happen. The Lisbon train, now that is the closest to modulars you'll get with where they might actually consider it, because it's less of a modular street and more of like a diorama thing, but still, not gonna happen. Canadian train, like, meh. Don't think so. With the crocodile being an 18 plus set, don't see that happening. More medieval. Not going to talk about it. Not going to talk about it. More space. Not going to talk about it. Not going to talk about it. Simpsons Krusty Burger. The Simpsons sets didn't sell as well as everyone thought they did. As much as it would be nice to get another ideas set, I really don't see it happening. Modular expansion pack. Okay, I have to give it to this one. They did do a take on it. They did do something different. But if it has the word modular in the name and it's supposed to connect to their modular buildings, it ain't happening. There's a reason the old fishing store doesn't have pinholes. Dig car. Uh, Fantasy castle. Never gonna happen. Castle of Brickwood Forest. Never gonna happen. You know what? Can all the castle people just like quiet down for a minute? Violin. They did the Fender. It's too similar. Sea Life in a Jar. I actually voted for this one. I think this one's really, really cool, especially following on from some of the recent sets we've had, so like these life-size sculptures and things. The Birds Ideas set, this is like the antithesis of this. That recent Hedwig that was really well sculpted, and then also the buildable objects from that set just all really, really stand out. So I was actually really expecting this one to be get through, and I was actually going to buy this. But a bit of a shame there, but at the same time, it looked absolutely lovely, but clearly they said no. Lego Astronaut, you know what? I'll accept that. If that had got through, I would have been happy with that as a space set. That's actually pretty cool. I like the sculpting. They probably would have turned it into a minifigure, but that's actually really cool. I like that. Snow globes also pretty cute, pretty useless at the same time. I don't see them doing that because if they were going to do it, they'd just do it themselves. It feels like a generic enough thing. But nope, sad that didn't make through review. You know what? I really would want to see fish. That's a top tier regret actually. Now, this map of Middle Earth. I knew it was never going to happen, but at the same time, it's one of those things as a Lord of the Rings fan that you couldn't help but love. And I have to admit that it's mostly just for getting the books printed. And I know they wouldn't necessarily do it, but getting a Lord of the Rings book print and Hobbit book print would be a dream come true. I don't know why. I need help. But I've talked about it before. Lord of the Rings reboot would have been something I really wanted to see, and this map was actually pretty cool. So I think it just about scrapes on the regret list for not passing review. But it's sort of sad. But at the same time, I really knew it was coming. I really couldn't expect them to do that. So what will be, I guess. Retro arcade. It's nice. Didn't stand a chance, really. I don't think. Nice day at the farm. Doesn't strike me as an idea set. I gotta say. Fourth bridge. It's one of those ones which. Uh, Another Technic truck. Have they ever accepted a Technic ideas set? No. And then ending off here with the Portal training chamber. And while I don't think this is the best model, I do wish that we got another Portal set. We really needed GLaDOS. We didn't get GLaDOS in the Dimensions set. It's another Dimensions license like Sonic and the Powerpuff Girls that just needs one or two more sets to round out the cast, get us a nice build, and then again, like Nightmare Before Christmas who have the CMFs, or Beetlejuice that just has the Dimension packs, or Sonic which is getting its own set. This Portal is another license that needs that treatment. It just needs one other set and then we can move on and they never have to touch it again. But I do want one more set just to like get a GLaDOS really. It was a really cool one. That's definitely a regret for me. Really sad that didn't pass review because it's just these perfect things, these dimension sets, they would have made perfect idea sets or just one-off sets in own lines and then they can just forget about it. Although maybe Portal's a candidate for the Lego Games line that's supposed to come out early next year. That and Overwatch. I would bet on Portal actually. That seems pretty likely to me now I think about it. So let's think about that. We'll leave that as a prediction. Portal for Lego Games in 2022. Right. Top regrets. Polar Express, definitely my top one regret. That's the worst one that I think they missed out on. I think we really could have done with the Polar Express. It would have been really cool, and I'm definitely gonna have to make one when I'm older anyway. Or when I have my Lego room, not when I'm older. I'm old enough to do it now. But second biggest regret, definitely Metroid. I think I'm actually surprisingly sad about that one. Third biggest regret, Sea Life. That really sucks to me. Fourth biggest regret, DNA, definitely DNA. Fifth, Tutankhamun. Sixth, Portal Testing Chamber. Seventh, Middle Earth. And then eighth, I think there's a lot here that could qualify. Like, I do think that the succulents is a missed opportunity, but I imagine they're doing their own. Eighth, we'll go for eighth, and then this will be my last one. Eighth biggest regret on here. You know what? The astronaut. I think that would have made a really nice £50 idea set. That's a pretty big miss. Yep, those are my top eight. Polar Express, Metroid, um, Polar Express, Metroid, Sea Life in Bottles, DNA, Tutankhamun, Middle Earth, Portal Testing Chamber, or sorry, Portal Testing Chamber, Middle Earth, the Astronaut, and Night Before Christmas. Those are my Miss 9 idea sets from this review, and I know we would never have got all of them, but those would have been my top picks for what I wanted to see. Now, just briefly on the end, I really don't want to touch on it too much because I could go on for hours, and plenty of people have had their angry spurts at ideas, but I did something on ideas the other day, and I was very disappointed with how it's handled. There will be a video on it properly when I get to that point in my life. But I was very disappointed with ideas. I think they need their own dedicated team for this. I think that they need to get better at managing the community. I think the vote threshold does need to go up to 15k, not that much more, just 15k, add an extra 100 days or something to do it, and just keep going as normal. Now, the biggest thing I think they need to do is I think they need to make it very clear. They need to take modular buildings off the ideas rota. They need to take Winter Village sets off the ideas rota. They need to take licensed programs that they have no intention of doing. So if they have no intention of ever revisiting The Simpsons, they need to take it off. They need to make it very clear about what is too much. So Baba Yaga should have never been allowed to be submitted due to its explicit content. And I mean in the images, if you've watched any of the videos on the set, they put naked ladies in their product submission page, like out of minifigures. It just should never have been allowed through, cartoonish or not. Among Us, if it's too violent for them, they should get rid of it. It should not be on there. Nintendo things, if they have no intention of doing Nintendo projects on ideas, release a press statement that says, we don't want to do this, and then just remove them from the list. That way no one gets suspicious and they just take them off. People should not be allowed to get to 10k and then get the reward for a license that LEGO knows they have no intention of doing from the beginning. The same as it becomes more difficult if you've got a product in the work, so like a Titanic or a police station in this case. You've got them in the work, I understand you've got to let them get to 10k, but you should just stop them from going into review. So you know those two projects, it was the Mystery Shack and the Japanese Garden were both removed from the review process before the review started. There should be that phase where they remove projects that they have in development or that can't get for licensing conflicts before letting them sit for 6 months thinking that they might become real. It's a really big problem. And that doesn't even get me started on the ideas process in general. It just is so flawed. They need their own dedicated team. They need tighter restrictions. And you know what? Yeah, they. I'm all right with them picking 3 projects for this one, but every review should have 2 or 3 if they want to keep going at this size, or they should up the requirement. It has to be that way. I also think their choices. I can understand where they're coming from. Obviously, there's a lot we don't get privy to because they're a company. They've got to make smart business decisions. But looking at this, if I was running an online mock store, there's a lot of easy wins here. Now, the modulars and castle sets are easy wins because the castle fan base is just insane. But at the same time, don't just pick Castle. There's a lot of easy licenses which won't make a lot of money that you've dealt with before, but one small set, cater towards the niche, don't spend too much time on it, don't do any new molds if you don't want to. Just give them their one set, appease the fan base, and then you can move on. If we look at like the last 10 ideas reviews, if they had picked one more project from just licenses they've tackled before, like Sonic, like Portal, like Nightmare Before Christmas, you could have had these fan bases appeased, ticked off the list, and you know that you never have to go back again. But otherwise, people are going to keep submitting Portal sets. They're going to keep submitting Nightmare Before Christmas sets, and rightly so, because they're nice, easy wins that appease a small fan base and move on. And yeah, no, Ideas has some problems. We'll be coming back to it in the future. This is fairly disappointing, but I really can't be disappointed because they did the one thing I wanted and didn't pass Hyrule Castle in review, which means we're getting a full wave of Zelda sets. I'm very happy about it, and I'll see you in the next Octane's Oracle. Um, Have a good day. Consider subscribing. Let me know what you thought or what was your biggest disappointments in the ideas review results. I expect lists of 10 down in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.